Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain and welcome to the Liv and Maddie review. Last time, we talked about part 1 of the season 3 finale as Skyvolt met her end and Maddie got a call from her dream school. This time around, we come to the resolution of the event set into motion by Skyvolt and Rooney. Spoiler warning now, like I even need to tell you guys at this point. With all that said, let's dive into California Rooney. We start things off with Liv being super excited to go to college with Maddie, until Maddie drops the news on her that SCSU accepted her and that she's decided to take them up on their offer. This causes a very sizable fight between the sisters, with both of them having fairly viable reasons for being mad at each other. I personally think Maddie is more in the right, but hey, what else is new? Anyways, so they aren't really on speaking terms anymore. In what promises to be our last journey into the Parker tunnels, Mama Rooney discovers them and starts using it for her own personal benefit, even renaming it Karen Country. This leads to the Rooney boys wanting to close down the tunnels, which leads to a major plot point later on. So, Maddie is ready to leave, and Liv doesn't even come down to say goodbye, which, regardless of the situation, is rather cold. And she ends up living with her aunt, who is Mama Rooney's little sister, and a self-proclaimed psychic spiritual person, I guess? Great. Now we have this to deal with for the entirety of Season 4. In any case, Maddie is settling into California, and Liv is busy packing all of Maddie's stuff away, while everyone else is trying to make things right between the two. This leads to a pretty well done scrapbook scene, where both Liv and Maddie are going through some of their best memories together. I think what worked best about this montage is the fact that it had a redone version of the theme song as the backing track, and this particular version was more heartfelt and emotional, perfectly mirroring the state that the Rooney twins were in. In the aftermath of that, Liv travels all the way to California to see Maddie to apologize. So they both sort of apologize, and everything is dandy with the twins again. And taking it one step further, Maddie suggests that Liv stay in California so they don't have to be apart anymore. And she, of course, agrees, because there's not too much for her to return to in Wisconsin since she just graduated high school and doesn't have a job anymore. But remember the point I made about the Parker tunnels? Well, the tunnels are shut down, but Joey, being the genius that he is, removes the one thing holding the house together, so the house collapses. It was interesting to see Michael Bay direct a Liv and Maddie sequence, but the acting during it made me feel like the Rooneys didn't lose too much. Their house, the one that they've been living in forever, just broke down, and they act like they're reacting to someone's bad haircut. It kind of falls flat as a moment that's supposed to mean something. So, naturally, all the Rooneys move to California, and that's how Season 3 closes. And that's California Rooney, an episode that had some really good moments, especially the scrapbook montage, which was really well edited, but ultimately falls flat as a season finale for a number of reasons. The emotional weight of leaving everything behind and having the Rooney house crushed is never delved into. We never really get to see the characters outside of Liv and Maddie themselves engaging in too many complex emotional states, so it would have been a good thing to allow the other members of the family to react in different ways, emotional ways, powerful ways, ways that make sense. Papa Rooney sees his family running out of a destroyed house, and he doesn't even ask if anyone's okay. This is just vapid, uninteresting, very lifeless, and worst of all, just flat out lazy. And what makes it even worse is that the best parts of this episode were spent resolving the emotional states of the twins, who almost lost someone very important to them. The Rooneys just lost their home, which could have served as an emotional parallel, but instead, they're all like, oh well, California dreaming it is. But it goes deeper than that. Because of the rushed way that everyone just packed up and moved on, we didn't get any proper goodbyes from the recurring characters that make up Steven's point. Regardless of how any of us feel about Diggy or Artie, they were important parts of the show. This just didn't feel like a season finale. It felt like just another episode that didn't have any real stakes or lasting force behind it. Now, I'm sure that a lot of this will get proper screen time and deeper explanation in Season 4, like the whole notion of what Diggy is doing with his life now that Maddie and him are separated again, but that's not the point. The point is, like almost everything else in the later stages of this season, things were forced and rushed without enough thought put into the narrative and without ever asking the very, very simple question of does this make sense? Don't get me wrong, the first half of this episode is pretty good. Seeing Liv and Maddie engage in some pretty raw emotions during the biggest spat they've ever had hits hard, but in a good way. As much as I side with Maddie personally, objectively, it's hard to determine who is really in the right and who is in the wrong. But Mama Rooney intelligently points out that sometimes you can be right and wrong at the same time, which is a good way to look at the situation. But I still think since Liv was the one who left home for Cali first to act and sing it loud, she's the one being more unfair here. But the entire episode is a classic example of a few really good things, followed by several nonsensical things, and as viewers of the show, I think we deserved a little better than that. Please, let me know down below if you think I'm being unfair on these matters, but as far as I'm concerned, this episode, in its totality, just wasn't all that great. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, throw on a like, subscribe for more, and share it all over social media. And don't forget to follow the Disney Brain on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Links down below. The coming days will finally bring the Zapped DCOM review, the next Girl Meets World review, and then we'll take a closer look at Disney Channel's latest original movie as we review Adventures in Babysitting. And the other upcoming videos are in the description as per usual, so lots to look forward to. Until then...
I'm just gonna say it. That was my bad.